Hi all, welcome to the Software Development Lifecycle Program. In last lecture, we have seen what is a waterfall model. Now let us evaluate what are the characteristics and use cases of a waterfall model. The first and foremost characteristics of a classic waterfall model is this is very simple and easy to use. We know this entire model is divided into multiple phases and we will be executing only one phase at a time. After finishing one phase, then we will be going into the next phase. This we have seen and there is no complexity on that, and hence we say that this classical waterfall model is very simple and easy to use. The second characteristic is this works well for small project where the requirements are very well understood. And look, this is very important. We have seen we are collecting all the requirements upfront, and if that requirement is not correct or if that requirement needs some changes, what will happen? Let's see. Suppose we have a great process. The process is rated 5-star. That means this is a fabulous process which gives great outputs. So what happens? We put some garbage into this process. What will be the real outcome for this project? Whether this will be great? No. Mostly, if we put some garbage in, the output also will be the garbage. This is called garbage in, garbage out. So, as we have seen, the requirement has to be very clearly defined upfront. If requirements are something like garbage, we end up in the process like just we have seen garbage in, garbage out. So the output here, the working software will also be something like garbage. And the next characteristics is that this is very easy to manage due to the rigidity of the model. We know what is the rigidity. We have very specific rules for this model where we cannot go back. We have to go one by one in a linear fashion, and the output of one phase will be the input of next phase. All this we have seen. This makes the model very rigid, and if the rules are clear, if there is a rigidity, then it is very easy to manage. And the next thing is that the process and the results are very well documented. We have already seen there are multiple phases, and at each phase there will be deliverables. Mostly it can be in the form of documents. For example, the requirement phase can come up with a documentation called software requirement specification, which specify all the user requirements including the functional and non-functional, which then flows into the design phase. From the design phase we have a lot of design documents, and from design documents we will move into the development stage, and from development stage we'll have the working software. Then it goes to the testing where we'll have the test results, and then it goes to the deployment where we'll have the user gates. So the important thing is every stage we'll have some kind of documentation. The next characteristics is that this is very important. No working software is produced until the late during the life cycle. This is really a risk. We have already seen that the working software is generated during the development stage, and if the requirements are not well defined, as we seen, the working software also will be not good. As we have seen, the working software is produced at the later stages of development life cycle, and changing this requires you have to entirely rerun all the processes, which is a high amount of risk. So this is a major risk that the classical waterfall models. And the last one, we can accommodate the changing requirements. This also we have discussed that each phase will go one by one and there is no option going upward or to the back to the previous phases. So why this is a risk? This is a risk because you cannot define everything upfront in software world. That is nearly impossible. You can do it for some small project, but not for big projects or softwares. So this also will be very high risk for the classic waterfall model. Now let's see some use cases of this classic waterfall model where we can use this model. We can use this model when the project is short. If it is a medium or it's a long project, we cannot use it. That should be very clear. And as we discussed this in detail in last sessions also, that when the requirements are clearly defined upfront, with no changes are expected until deployment, we can use this model. When the project is not complex, the technology is very well understood, definitely we can use this model. And when the risks are minimal, the change in the technology, the change in the functions, requirements, if everything is minimal, you can definitely go and use this model. So if the project is short, if the requirements are clearly defined upfront, and the project is not complex, where you know the technology very well, and if you can foresee that there are not much risks either in technology side or in the functional side, you can definitely go and use this for your software development. So we have discussed in length about the waterfall model and the various characteristics and use cases of this model. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please provide your feedback, and let's see in next video. Thank you.